Hello. This is the 187th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2224, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Mm-hmm. So, where are we, Simon?
We're outside. We're in a treehouse.
We are in a treehouse.
Mm-hmm. Different for our regular listeners, they'll know. Different from where we usually record in my apartment. If you're new to the show, we totally record in treehouses all the time.
Yes. We occasionally do these live episodes, and no sound effects. We're actually in a
no
treehouse.
artificial sound effects, which we never would do anyway. But exactly, whatever our listeners are hearing, it's because it's here in the world around us.
If you hear some birds, those are real birds. Mm-hmm. If you hear leaves falling, there are actually leaves falling.
Yep. Shuttle whooshing by, totally a shuttle whooshing by.
Exactly. So why are we in a treehouse?
We rented it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, just for a couple of days. And partially because it's fun. And partially because neither of us had ever done it before.
Right. I've climbed up in treehouses before, but exactly never stayed in one overnight.
And we did it on purpose just this weekend, so we can put it in the podcast.
Yeah. Add some variety.
Yeah. So we're not in the in our actual room. We're on the
No, we're on the deck, I guess, like a balcony. Yeah, but looking out over the forest.
I think deck is a better word, because it's essentially we're on a tree branch.
Yeah.
So actually it's a really big branch, and you can sit on it. There are chairs on it. You just have to be a little bit careful on the edge. Yeah. So. Maybe we start by describing the treehouse itself.
Yeah, so it's pretty huge. Yeah, I'd say for a treehouse. It's taking up like the whole top canopy here.
Yeah.
And actually, this canopy, these trees, it's actually a tree on top of an even larger tree.
Yeah.
Which has itself many trees growing up out of it.
Yeah.
So trees stacked on top of trees.
If you imagine it from afar. It is a really big, massive tree, and I think the tree is, I would say maybe 100-200 meters high. I would say something like that. And it's officially grown, of course. Yeah. And we have our tree house in here, but there are many tree houses stacked throughout the tree. Smaller branches have one apartment. Some branches have bigger apartments. And there are little trees and bigger trees growing in the tree. I guess you even could call it a tree's house.
Yeah.
I guess.
It doesn't sound as good, but you could call it that.
So maybe if you look at it basically if you look around from where we are sitting now, or view, I guess the most striking for me is the canyon.
Right, so far below there, and then the waterfalls pouring down into it.
Yeah, and then
from the base of the tree and up further high up as well.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is like on the side of the tree where we are, there are not so many waterfalls, but especially on the other side where we were before, there are quite a few waterfalls somehow flowing from the tree down into the water. So that's and because we're in a bit of a canyon, so the treehouse is actually on an island in the canyon.
Right.
So some of the apartments actually look out on the canyon wall, but we're so high up, we actually see also the other side of the river.
Yep. And right on this island here, as we can see, there's lots of pink flowers. Yeah. Like up in the canopy, down on the ground below us. And because that's here on this island, and then around the valley, the canyon rather, we can see all different coloured flowers on the other banks as well.
Yeah. So it's comparing it to a normal tree is, I guess, stretching a bit because it's officially grown, it's made wider, it's made bigger, and because of all of these apartments and trees, and of course you need some kind of infrastructure also for the guests. It doesn't look so much like a tree anymore.
Right, it's been tailored a lot.
Yeah, tree-ish.
But it still is a tree.
Yeah, definitely.
Take away all the other stuff, the hotel, or not the hotels, but all the things that people need to live here, it would still be a tree, just a very unusually shaped one.
And it's also inside the apartment, also here on the outside, they've made everything tree. It may not look like a tree, but actually made out of tree stuff that's kind of grown out of the tree. So even like the cupboard, that's basically like a crevice inside the tree. I'm not sure if crevice is the real word.
Not sure either, but basically the shelving, exactly, it's the bark, it's the tree itself grown, the shelves are grown into it, rather than being carved out of it or like stuck onto it with, what would you call it, screwed in or nailed in or something like that.
Yeah. And then we have, it's still like, we're not the only ones here, so there are several...
Sure, other folk walking by.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, like we're saying deck or balcony, but it's not it's separated from the other balconies, the other decks.
It's like a thoroughfare or thoroughfare, whatever you call it. A sidewalk up in the trees for folk to walk along.
Yeah. Maybe we speak a little bit about what's inside the apartment.
Sure, right. So to the point, it's effectively this is a hotel. So of course it has all your regular modern conveniences inside as well. For example, there's drones flying around, bringing things from reception. You order something, it gets brought up to you. You don't need to go down. But those drones are nicely camouflaged. Either they look like, I said flying, so sure the ones that are flying look like birds. You also got ones that look like monkeys swinging around in the branches.
Climbing up. Yeah,
exactly.
I saw those. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you can order something from reception, and there's some kind of like animal or animal-like device bringing them up.
And then it's cute how you tip them. Like, so if it's a bird, you give them some bird seed. It's a monkey, you give them a banana. Yeah. Nice attention to detail.
What I thought was an interesting detail is like the cupboard where you have your bathrobe and stuff. They also have squirrel suits.
Yeah. So if you want to get down to the ground quickly, you can just jump off here, glide down.
But interesting, I assumed that everybody had squirrel suits, but there were just a few people walking by on the deck here, and they had bat suits. So
maybe they asked for them especially, or brought their own.
Or maybe every apartment has like a different...
slightly different theme. Right, we've got the squirrel apartment, other folk have got the bat cave, stuff like that.
And but it's also because some people are actually using them. And this is a place where you can also bring your pets. So people bring their cats and their dogs. And then you see dogs reacting to people in the squirrel suits.
Barking at them a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then also when their owners jump off the balcony, they do also bark in a scared way, like, whoa, what's going on? When they're not used to it.
I know what I like is, of course, we've been here since yesterday. The Congo, the food conglomerator that produces the food. Yeah. You can just get like
tree-themed?
Yeah, tree-themed food,
Yeah, like stuff made of nuts, for example. Yeah. So if we're going with a squirrel theme.
Or
maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly. So it has like food or tree or forest ingredients, like mushrooms and things like that. Or it's just, like you're saying, it's like themed. Like you can get like a chocolate tree, for example.
And the plates are made of wood. Everything is like tree-looking.
Yeah. But I mean, on the other hand, it's nice because you walk into your apartment, everything is kind of made of tree or tree-ish things, and you can kind of recognize where the bed is. But because everything is so camouflaged, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to find
the contrast is a bit low for me, because it's looking like it's not looking like bits of different trees stuck together. It's all harmonious, which is really good for looks, but harder then to differentiate stuff.
Exactly. So
you have to go slow, not rush.
Yeah, that's true. So I thought maybe we speak a little bit about the activities, because especially this tree house is very, community oriented. So it's almost like a camping ground, because everything is so much outside and nothing is fenced off. So you constantly meet people. I don't know if this comes up over in the recording, but occasionally people are walking by on our branch.
Right. So that's just like hanging out, but then there's specific activities. The squirrel suits aren't actually officially an activity. That's just a thing you can do. But the stuff that's organised, so there's vine swinging from tree to tree. Go on.
No, I saw that, but is that also on this weekend? Because if that's on, I would love to try that.
I didn't actually look, so I wasn't interested in thinking about myself, so I didn't yet look at the schedule. I can check it after the show.
Okay, cool.
What else?
Hello.
What else was there?
I think there was something. They had some activities on the waterfalls.
Right, yeah. Well, surfing down them even.
Yeah,
which is pretty hard.
True.
Yeah.
I saw the signs. They were heavily promoting it at the reception.
Yeah, so that must be going on this weekend.
But I wonder how that's going to work, because the waterfalls are vertical, right?
Sure. Maybe using gravitation in some way, like artificial gravity. I
can understand like hovering down, but then this has nothing really to do with the waterfall. Okay, I'm sure they have.
I don't know. Like, so what I mean is, like, so as you say, waterfalls are for the most part vertical, but then maybe using a graph belt, you can rotate yourself like 90 degrees, and be surfing down it.
Okay. See,
we can find out later.
So I'm now thinking either I'm going to try the vine swinging or the waterfall surfing, or maybe both.
Yep. So those are both pretty active sports, but I'm a bit, I'll say mild. A less active one, at least, is nut crushing.
Oh, yeah, nut crushing.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you gather up a whole lot of nuts from here up in the trees, squirrel-like again, and then crush them.
We can try that tonight. I guess because some of these things, maybe vine swinging in the dark is probably not really a thing. But because
I think crushing nuts in the dark should be fine.
And I heard some really, because last night we didn't really do much, but sitting on our deck, you could really hear all kinds of things happening.
Hammering, cracking, and obviously,
And you could hear people talking. There was some singing somewhere. I think I even saw a campfire. I'm not sure if that's a good idea in a tree, but I'm sure they have safety measures.
Exactly, safety precautions going on.
Okay. So those are some of the activities.
We spoke already about other folk who are up here.
But what I thought, or maybe you were going to say that there are not just people here, but a lot of animals.
Exactly. And we mentioned dogs, but those we were meaning just pets of people. But there were also animals who are ones who are here naturally here, because it's
because it's
a tree, so they live here anyway. But then also there are ones who are tenants, either long-term or short-term, like ourselves. And then also ones who are hired, who work here basically. Yes, and maybe also live here, but the point is they're here right now to work.
It's funny, like initially I hadn't realized, because of course there's animals of all kinds, but they have kind of like a sign, so you kind of like a name tag. And on the one hand it's like, sure, you're in a kind of like a forest tree environment, you expect animals. And just to make sure people also have that experience, they actually hire animals just to be there. And then this, of course, I guess animals are naturally here, but if you hire them to be here, it doesn't feel that naturally, right?
It depends on the animal. Sure, a hippopotamus up here in the trees, that does feel pretty out of place. But a monkey swinging around, we mentioned the drone ones earlier, and also a real live one, that would totally fit in.
Again, just imagine if you're a hired squirrel, right? So you're here for the day, you're doing your job, you get paid in nuts or whatever. But then there are some natural squirrels showing up, because it's a tree. You can't forbid, real squirrels from coming. Do they kind of have like a standoff? Hey.
You mentioned name badges earlier, name tags. So I'm pretty sure that's just like regular folk going to a shop and seeing meaning humans going to a shop, seeing other humans who work there. From clothing, from name badges, it's clear who's working in the shop and who's there to buy something. Yeah,
but I think if the hired squirrels are seeing, hey, there's a bunch of squirrels showing up here naturally, maybe they're going to be out of a job.
I see.
Because, if squirrels...
I guess it depends what they're hired to do, of course.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And they are probably much better educated to be a proper squirrel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else we maybe want to mention about the...
I did spot, they're pretty far from us, so I don't think it would have come across on the recording, but I see over there, so I'm pointing, that does not help for our listeners, several trees away, I'm pointing at a branch, and I see over there, looks like other people doing a podcast. See them also holding up like their recording device, gesturing around. Hey, and now they've caught our eyes. Yeah. Hey. So we're waving at them, they're waving at us.
Almost feels like a mirror image.
But they look slightly different from us. They're not wearing the same clothes and the like.
I wonder if they're also sending their episodes back to the 21st century.
Well, that would be a coincidence. More likely they're talking about trees.
Yeah, maybe they're...
Like, meaning it's their regular topic, not a one-off.
Maybe they're like treehouse influencers.
Exactly. Maybe they've been sent here to review the place. They don't have to pay their own, they don't have to pay for the room, but it's covered. Their expenses are covered because they'll leave a nice review.
Okay. I'm now trying
This is a lot of speculation.
Yeah. I'm already trying to come up with a word for this.
Treefluencers?
Treefluencers, I guess. Treefluencers.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with that. That's a wave to the treefluencers. Hey, guys.
Yep.
Maybe we can chat with them later. Maybe we can do some nut crushing together.
That would be nice. It's better to do that in a larger group.
Yeah.
Rather than just the two of you.
Okay. I would say that's about it.
I think so. Should we answer? We had a question.
Yes, it's the last thing I was going to say. Like the view is really amazing, and I'm not sure we can, if this really comes over in the recording.
Probably
like
not. Yeah.
We describe what we saw, but it's just we're really high up.
Maybe the sound gets across how spectacular it is.
True. Yeah. Okay. Listener question you were saying.
Yes. Okay. So there is a question here from Kim, and Kim asks, "Do you still have books in the 21st century? If so, what do you like to read?"
Yeah, we do have books.
We do.
We did find out a while ago that books used to be on paper.
That's the strange old thing. Right. Kim's asking that, so we don't have books on paper anymore.
Yeah, but there are still books, just not on paper.
Yep.
And we read them. You read, I read.
Yep. Okay, now we are readers. I say readers. Yeah, no, readers. But I tend to read my books in the form of audiobooks, so maybe you want to call it listening.
Yeah, listening to books. Yeah.
Exactly, I listen to audiobooks. What was the other question? What do I like to read? For the most part, science fiction.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, that's like my default, I guess. And I'm a member of some other book clubs. So basically, I'm a member of one sci-fi book club, but then also a member of some other book clubs, and they'll choose random, at least from my perspective, seemingly random books. And I like that because then I'll read something either that in a genre I never would have read, or by an author I've never heard of. So that's pretty fun.
So that's smart.
In answer, I read everything, but my default is sci-fi.
See, my default is sci-fi as well. I guess it's not a coincidence that we basically are recording this podcast for the 21st century people.
It seems like sci-fi to them.
Exactly.
Even if it's just regular daily life to us.
But I usually use a book generator. So whenever I like to read a book, I basically prompt it, just saying, this is the kind of story that I would like. This is the kind of setting. This is the kind of genre. This is the kind of style based on maybe an author or whatever.
You say the tone, like do you want it to be upbeat, deep, philosophical?
Exactly. And then maybe a lot of topic nonsense included, or maybe characters. I mean, you can have as detailed prompt as you want, and then it just generates a book, and I'm the only one actually reading that book because it was generated for me. Which is nice, but after 2, 3, 4 books that I prompted myself in a row, things start to repeat because I guess it's still me.
Then you can see recipes by other folk. Prompts meaning. So recipes are like collections of prompts, so that you have other types of books to read.
But I'm still always amazed. Like I was still the one doing the prompting, but then you read the book and you're amazed that sometimes about the storyline or the setting or the scenery or the dialogue or the characters, like, whoa, this all just came out of my prompt. Pretty impressive.
Sure. Good stuff.
Yeah, so just to answer your question, yes.
Yes, indeed, Kim. We have books and we read them.
Yeah, and mostly sci-fi. If you're listening to the podcast, we're guessing maybe you like sci-fi a little bit.
Yeah. And I mentioned actually, so the other book clubs, okay, some of everything, but lately actually there has been a trend, lots of thrillers. Yeah. Some of them spooky, some of them scary, basically scary stuff going on.
See, my next prompt is going to be in a treehouse in autumn, just like we have right now. Yeah. Looking forward to this.
Yep. So, listeners to Test from the Future from the 21st century, please send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com and put the number 187 in the subject line so that we know this episode of our podcast successfully went back in time. And if you want to give us any book recommendations, please write those in too.
All right. Then thanks for listening and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.